My name's Craig. I'm 58 years old, and I've been living in Chiang Mai for about 2.5 years now. Before that, I spent 32 years in Sydney, working in commercial real estate. Got a decent pension, reasonable health, and the kind of restlessness that hits a lot of men my age. The feeling that you've done things right your whole life, and now maybe it's time to do something for yourself, you know? I'm telling you this because in the last couple of years I've watched something happen here that genuinely frightens me. I've seen men arrive in Thailand with stars in their eyes, and I've watched good men, intelligent men, successful men, get absolutely decimated by women they thought were falling in love with them. I've seen their bank accounts drained. I've seen their confidence destroyed. I've watched one bloke actually consider taking his own life because of what he thought was a betrayal by a woman he'd fallen hard for. And here's the thing. Nobody warned them. Nobody told them the truth about what they were walking into. So that's what I'm doing now. When you're a Western man over 50 and you arrive in Thailand for the first time, you experience something unique. It's not quite like traveling anywhere else in the world. There's an almost audible click that happens when you step off the plane at Suvarnabhumi. You feel it in your chest. Suddenly, you're not invisible anymore. You're not the aging guy that nobody looks twice at on the street. You walk down Niman Road in Chiang Mai or Sukhumvit Soi 11 in Bangkok, and women, beautiful women, women 20, 30 years younger than you, are actually looking at you. They're smiling. They're touching your arm when they talk to you. They're giving you their numbers. It's intoxicating. Absolutely intoxicating. And I need to be honest with you. After a life where you've been fading, where your relevance has been slowly decreasing with every gray hair and every wrinkle, this is a drug. It feels like coming home. That's the hook. That's the first danger right there, and I want you to understand it clearly. It's not that Thai women are evil or that they're predators. It's that your perception is completely distorted by decades of aging out of the dating market in the West. You've forgotten what it feels like to be wanted, and because you've forgotten, you're vulnerable in ways you don't even understand yet. Let me tell you what Thailand actually looks like when you arrive. If you come to the tourist areas, and most men do, you're walking into something that's been specifically engineered for men like you. I'm not exaggerating. There are entire neighborhoods built around facilitating transactions between Western men and Thai women. Soi Cowboy in Bangkok, Nana Plaza, Pattaya Walking Street. These aren't accidents, they're industries. When you walk down Pattaya Walking Street on a Friday night, you're looking at a machine, a beautiful, seductive, perfectly oiled machine designed to separate you from your money while making you feel like you're in love. And the genius of it, the truly diabolical genius of it, is that nobody's lying to you explicitly. The girls aren't saying, "I'm a sex worker and I'll be your girlfriend for the night in exchange for money." Instead, they're doing something far more insidious. They're giving you the girlfriend experience. Let me explain what that actually means, because I don't think most men understand it when they arrive. The girlfriend experience in Thailand is a specific service. It looks like this. You meet a woman at a bar, or through an app, or on the street. She seems interested in you. Not interested in your wallet, interested in you. She laughs at your jokes. She listens when you talk. She touches your arm. She looks at you like you're the most interesting man she's ever met. She wants to spend time with you, not just in the bar or not just at her apartment. She wants to walk around with you. She wants to eat pad thai with you at a street stall. She wants to introduce you to her friends. She wants to take selfies with you. She's building something that looks, feels, and sounds exactly like a relationship. And here's the thing. It's not entirely fake. These women are often genuinely skilled at their work. They're reading you. They understand what a lonely man needs to hear. They understand that you don't actually want to feel like a customer. You want to feel like a partner, and so they give you that. Every interaction is calibrated to make you feel special, chosen, loved. I met a woman named Noi about 6 weeks after I arrived in Chiang Mai. She was working at a small bar on Niman Road. She was 28, beautiful in that particular way that makes you stupid, which sounds crude, but it's true. When you're attracted to someone, you're not thinking clearly. That's just biology. And she was perfect. She laughed at everything I said. She told me I was handsome. She wanted to spend all her time with me. Within a week, she wasn't working, or that's what she told me. We were together almost every day. We'd have breakfast at the morning market. We'd walk around the old city. We'd sit and drink coffee and talk about our lives. It felt real. It felt like the beginning of something genuine. I was already planning for this to be more than a temporary thing. I was already imagining maybe she could move in with me, Or maybe I'd help her start a business or something. I wasn't thinking about money yet. That came later. But I was definitely thinking long term. I was already telling myself a story about this woman and my future here. By week 3, her sister got sick. She needed 30,000 baht for medicine. Not an enormous amount of money, about $800, but she was clearly uncomfortable asking. She actually tried to refuse my help. She said no, she would figure it out. That made me trust her. If she was running a scam, I thought, wouldn't she ask immediately? Wouldn't she be obvious about it? So I gave her the money. And she was genuinely grateful. She cried. She told me I was a good man, that she'd never met anyone like me. By week 5, her mother had some problems with moneylenders. Her car needed repair, and it was expensive. She had to find accommodation for a cousin who was going through a difficult time. Each request came wrapped in what felt like genuine emotion. Each one was just slightly uncomfortable for her to ask. Each one felt like I was stepping up to be the man who loved her, and each one made me feel more bonded to her. I don't want to make myself out to be stupid. I'm educated. I'm intelligent. I've run businesses. I understand how money works. But I didn't understand how this worked. And that's the real danger. It's not stupid men who fall into these traps. It's all kinds of men. It's men with PhDs. It's men who've made millions. It's men who pride themselves on being shrewd. The girlfriend experience trap is specifically designed to work on the part of you that's lonely, not the smart part, not the experienced part, the lonely part. And that part doesn't think like the rest of you. It thinks like a 30-year-old who's fallen head over heels for his first serious girlfriend. Here's what I didn't know at the time. Noi was doing exactly what hundreds of women in Chiang Mai were doing. I wasn't special. I wasn't chosen. I was a client. I was a source of income. And the relationship we were building was pure theater. The thing that made me feel special, the way she looked at me, the way she prioritized me, the way she built a future with me in her words, that was just what she did. That was her job. And she was very, very good at it. But I didn't know that then. I thought I'd finally found something real. I think the best way to explain the girlfriend experience trap is to understand that it's not one single thing. It's not that a woman lies once and then asks for money. It's a slow seduction that works on multiple levels at once. She's seducing you sexually, yes, but she's also seducing you emotionally. She's building a narrative where you're the hero. She's creating an identity for you, the generous man, the caring man, the man who's different from Western men. The man who's willing to help the people you love. And in Thailand, where the gap between Western wealth and Thai income is so enormous, there's always something to help with. There's always a story that needs money. There's always a reason. And because you're in love, and you are in love, or at least you think you are, you give it. The system works because it's not actually predatory in the traditional sense. She's not holding a gun to your head. She's not stealing from you. You're giving freely. She's just making sure that every time you give, she's made you feel like you're not being taken advantage of. She's made you feel like you're being a good person. That's the girlfriend experience trap in its purest form. And it catches more men than any other single thing in Thailand. I want you to understand something important before we move forward. I'm not saying all Thai women are running this game. That would be absurd. Thailand has millions of women who are decent, honest, and looking for genuine relationships. But here's what's also true. Thailand has become a very efficient machine for separating lonely Western men from their money, using the girlfriend experience trap. And if you don't understand how that machine works, you will get caught in it. Not maybe, will. Let me tell you about the specific ways this game gets played, because understanding the mechanics is how you protect yourself. The financial trap usually doesn't reveal itself all at once. It doesn't all arrive at once. Instead, it slowly escalates. By the time you realize how much money you're sending, you've already normalized it. It just feels like what people who are in relationships do. By week 8 with Noi, I was regularly sending her money between visits. Maybe 5,000 baht one day for rent that was due. Maybe 8,000 the next week for food and supplies. Nothing massive individually, but together it added up. I was probably sending her 20,000 to 30,000 baht a month without really thinking about it. Then came the sick buffalo story. Now I need to tell you about the sick buffalo because it's real, and it happens to more Western men than you'd think. Her father, who I'd never met, who lived in a village I'd never seen, had a buffalo that got sick. The buffalo was his livelihood. Without it, the family couldn't work the land. A vet in the nearest town said it would cost 80,000 baht to treat it properly. That's about $2,300. Not enormous money in the West, but substantial. For her, it was impossible. So she asked if I could help. And here's where I want to be really honest with you. I knew something was off. Deep down, the part of me that wasn't in love knew this was a test. I knew that if I gave her this money, I was crossing a line. I knew that it signaled that I would fund her family's problems. I knew that this amount of money was just the beginning. But I also loved her, or I thought I did. And love makes you stupid. I gave her the money. And you know what happened? Her father got the buffalo treated. The buffalo got better. She showed me photos. I talked to her father on the phone for about 20 seconds, which didn't help me verify anything, but made me feel like I'd been helpful. And that worked. That's the genius of it. Some of these stories are true. They're not all lies. The buffalo was probably real. The vet probably did cost money. But the manipulation comes from the fact that now I'd solved a family crisis. Now I was bonded to them. Now I wasn't just her boyfriend. I was their benefactor. I was the rich Western man who'd rescued them. It's a very specific kind of trap because it activates something in men over 50 that's especially vulnerable. We've often felt powerless in our lives. We've had to ask permission, follow rules, do what we're supposed to do. But here, suddenly, we have power. We can fix things. We can save people. We can be the hero. And they know that. They know that about you before you even tell them. I know dozens of men here who've become ATM machines for their girlfriends. I mean that literally. They send money every month like clockwork. They're funding everything. Living expenses, family expenses, business expenses. And they're okay with it because they've built a story that makes it acceptable. I'm helping someone I love, they tell themselves. I'm doing good. I'm making a difference in her life. But I want you to understand what's actually happening. You're funding a system that exists to extract money from lonely men. You're not being generous, you're being managed. And the longer it goes on, the harder it is to see clearly. Dating apps in Thailand introduce a different layer of danger because they collapse the distance between the pickup scene and the mainstream. When a woman meets you in a bar on Soy Cowboy, you both know what the transaction is. It's explicit. But when a woman meets you on Tinder or Thai Cupid or Badoo, it looks normal. It looks like dating. And that's where the real predators operate. I have a friend named Michael. Well, we're friendly. I met him at the Hash House Harriers, the running club. And he spent about 2 months talking to a woman on Tinder. Her name was Molly. She was beautiful. She had a job. She said she worked in accounting. She wanted to meet him, but she was busy with work, so they chatted and chatted. And he fell for her through the screen. When they finally met, she was exactly who she said she was, at least initially. But within weeks, she was asking for money for a business opportunity, a boutique that she and her sister wanted to open. She needed 150,000 baht. She had a business plan. She showed him investor documents that looked professional. She promised it would be a good return, that she'd repay him with interest. He gave her the money. The boutique never existed. She cut off contact. He found her profile on Tinder again 6 months later, using different photos, targeting different men. Here's what's dangerous about dating apps in Thailand. They feel legitimate. They feel like normal dating. You're not going to a bar. You're swiping and matching like you would in London or Sydney or New York. So your defenses are down. You believe the woman is genuinely looking for a relationship, not a transaction. And by the time you realize it's a transaction, you've already bonded with her and sent money. Some of the women on these apps aren't scammers in the traditional sense. They're just very clear-eyed about using a relationship as a financial strategy. They'll date you, get attached to you, maybe even enjoy your company. But they're also carefully calculating what they can extract from you. They're thinking 5, 10 steps ahead. And you're just thinking about whether you want to see her again tomorrow. The emotional manipulation specific to lonely men over 50 is genuinely sophisticated. I want you to understand this because it's the thread that ties everything together. When you're a man past 50, especially if you've been single for a while, you develop a very specific vulnerability. You start to believe that your window for love is closing. You've internalized the message that you're aging out of the market. You've watched your peers settle into long-term relationships while you've been alone. And you're genuinely afraid that if you don't grab something now, something real, something that feels like love, you might miss your last chance. The women here, the smart ones, the ones running the best games, they can smell that. They can sense that you don't believe you deserve love anymore. And so they position themselves as your last chance. They act like they can't believe you're single. They tell you that you're different from other men. They tell you that they've never felt this way before. They position themselves as the final gift the universe is giving you before you run out of time. And it works, because you need to believe it. You need to believe that someone actually loves you, because the alternative, that you're going to be alone for the rest of your life, is unbearable. I knew another man here, Derek, who'd been divorced for 15 years. He had a good life, honestly. He had friends, hobbies, a decent apartment, but he wanted a partner. He wanted to share his life with someone. When he met a woman named Ping through Badoo, he thought he'd finally found that. She seemed genuinely interested in him. She made him feel young again. After about 2 months of dating, she introduced him to her cousin, a man who said he had a business opportunity, a restaurant specifically. Derek didn't want to invest, he wasn't interested, but Ping asked him to help as a favor to her. She said her family had money in it and she wanted to help her cousin. Derek gave him 100,000 baht. The restaurant never existed. The cousin disappeared. Derek didn't leave Thailand. He kept seeing Ping for another year, giving her money regularly, telling himself that she didn't know what her cousin was really like. Telling himself that she loved him. Telling himself that maybe the restaurant would happen eventually. She left him when he said he couldn't give her any more money. That's emotional manipulation at its most effective. It makes a man give money not because he expects a return, but because he believes that giving is what keeps the love alive. He doesn't give because he trusts the investment. He gives because he's afraid that if he doesn't, she'll leave. I've heard stories from men, real stories, not exaggerations, about blackmail scenarios. A man meets a woman. They spend time together. Maybe they have sexual relations. Maybe they don't. Then one day, videos appear. Videos of him with her, often in compromising situations. His family back home is contacted. His friends on social media get private messages. The blackmailer offers to make it go away for a price. I'm not going to lie to you and say this is common. It's not. But it's common enough that it's a threat you should be aware of. And it usually doesn't happen spontaneously. Usually the woman you've met, the woman you thought you were building a relationship with, was part of the setup the whole time. There's another version of this that happens in Pattaya and Bangkok more than Chiang Mai. A man goes out, meets a woman, either at a bar or through an app. He's drugged, usually with something slipped into his drink. He wakes up without his wallet, his phone, his cash. Sometimes without any idea what happened. Sometimes the blackmail follows. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes he's just robbed. I don't mention this to be alarmist. I mention it because you need to know that the dating scene in Thailand for Western men over 50 isn't just about getting your heart broken or your money stolen slowly. It can get dark quickly, and most men don't talk about it when it happens, so you never hear about it. I was lucky. I never got to the point of being robbed or blackmailed, but I did lose money, quite a lot of it actually. By the time I realized that Noi wasn't actually in a relationship with me, wasn't actually planning a future with me, I'd given her probably somewhere around 200,000 baht. That's about $5,700. Not the end of the world for me. I have a pension. I can afford to lose it. But it was humiliating. When I tried to confront her about it, she cried. She said she did love me. She just needed the money for her family. She said I was being selfish, that I was treating her like a prostitute. And here's the really dark part. I felt guilty. Even though I was the one losing money, even though I was the one being manipulated, I felt like the bad guy. That's how well this game is designed. Let me talk about red flags and green flags, because this is actually the most important thing I can tell you. A red flag in Thailand isn't what you might think. It's not necessarily, this woman asked for money, because as we've established, almost every woman here will ask for money eventually, and sometimes those reasons are genuine. The trick is learning to read the difference between a woman who needs help and a woman who's running you. Here's what I've learned. The real red flag is speed. If things move fast, you need to slow down. This means she wants commitment after a week. She's talking about the future immediately. She's introducing you to her family. She's acting like you're in a serious relationship when you've only known each other for days. She's constantly touching you, constantly telling you she loves you, constantly positioning herself as essential to your happiness. I know this sounds obvious when I say it, but when it's happening to you, it doesn't feel wrong. It feels like luck. It feels like she's unusually ready for love, unusually excited to be with you, unusually open. But the truth is, she's working a schedule. She knows from experience how long it takes to bond a Western man to her, and she's moving at the pace that works. Another red flag is inconsistency in her story. Not big things necessarily, small things. She told you her sister lived in Bangkok, but then later mentions her sister living in her hometown. She told you she didn't have family expectations, but then she's always asking about money for family. She told you she didn't drink, but you've seen her drinking. These aren't always lies. Sometimes they're just inconsistencies, but they're signs that she's not being entirely honest with you. Money is also a red flag. If she's constantly talking about money, if she's always aware of what things cost, if she's immediately understanding of exactly how much cash you're carrying, if she's interested in your financial situation very quickly, these are signs that money is her primary focus, not you. A green flag, a real one, is slowness. A woman who takes time to open up to you. A woman who actually seems to need to know you before she commits. A woman who doesn't talk about the future within the first month. A woman who doesn't ask for money for anything. A green flag is independence. She has her own job, her own life, her own friends. She doesn't revolve around you. She seems happy to see you, but she's not destroyed when you can't see her. She has plans that don't include you. She's living a full life. A green flag is honesty about what she is. If she tells you up front that she works in the hospitality industry, or that she used to work in the sex trade and has moved on, or that she doesn't have much formal education, that's actually a good sign. It means she's not building an elaborate false identity. She's trusting you with the truth. A green flag is a woman who seems to care about you as a person, not about what you represent. She remembers things you told her. She asks about your life, your health, your feelings. She doesn't redirect every conversation back to money or the future. Here's the hard truth. Genuine connections with Thai women are possible, but they're rare, and they don't look like the fantasy. They look more normal, less exciting, less intoxicating. They develop slower, they require more patience, and they're less likely to make you feel like you're finally getting what you deserve. I want to talk about where those genuine connections actually happen, because it's important. They don't happen in bars. They don't happen on Tinder. They happen in communities. In Chiang Mai, if you actually want to meet Thai women who are looking for genuine relationships with Western men, the best place is through the expat community itself. There are language exchange groups. There are volunteer organizations. There are hobby groups, running clubs like the Hash, cooking classes, art classes, music venues. You'll meet women who are there because they're interested in learning English or art or music, not because they're looking to extract money from you. The women you meet this way are often middle-class Thai women. They have decent jobs, they have education, they have their own lives. They're not dependent on you. And when they date you, it's because they actually want to, not because they need to. I met someone like that, actually. Her name is Aoi. I met her at a language exchange group at a cafe on Niman Hamin. She's a teacher. She was there to practice English. We got coffee a few times. We got dinner. It was slow. It was normal. There were no dramatic declarations of love. There was no talk about forever. We just got to know each other. After about 3 months, we started dating properly, and it was different. It was nice, but it wasn't intoxicating. She didn't make me feel special in that addictive way. She was just a woman I liked spending time with. And honestly, after everything I'd been through with Noi, that felt really good. That felt real. We've been together about 8 months now. We haven't talked about marriage. We haven't merged our finances. She still lives in her own place with a roommate. I'm not supporting her family. I'm not funding her future. We're just two people who enjoy each other's company, who respect each other, who are figuring out if we have a long-term future together. It's not the fantasy I came to Thailand dreaming about, but it's real, and it's sustainable. And I like her in a way that doesn't make me feel crazy or desperate or like I'm running out of time. I think it's important that I tell you about what I got wrong when I first came here, because I do want you to understand that the blame for what happened isn't entirely on the women who took advantage of me. Some of it is on me. I came to Thailand with a narrative. I'd spent 58 years being responsible, doing the right thing, following the rules, and I was tired of it. I wanted to feel young again. I wanted to feel desired. I wanted to feel like the hero of my own story for once. And when I met Noi, she gave me all of that. She gave me the feeling that someone had chosen me, that I was special, that my life mattered to someone. But here's what I didn't understand. That feeling wasn't real. It was a product. She was very good at making me feel that way, but it wasn't because I was actually special to her. It was because that's what she did for a living. Coming to Thailand as an older man and expecting to find love in the first place you look, that's on me. That's not on the women here. The system exists because there's demand for it. And there's demand for it because men like me are lonely and vulnerable. and willing to believe almost anything if it means we get to feel loved again. So here's what I'd tell my past self. I'd tell him that the most dangerous thing about Thailand for men over 50 isn't the women or the scams or the robberies. It's the flattery. It's the feeling of being desired. It's so intoxicating and it's so fake that it can completely override your common sense. I'd tell him that genuine connections with Thai women are possible, but they don't come quickly, they don't come easy, and they definitely don't come if you're spending all your time in the places designed to separate you from your money. I'd tell him that the most important thing you can do when you arrive in Thailand is to build a real life. Make friends who aren't trying to date you or take money from you. Get involved in your community. Learn about the culture, the language, the history. Because if the only thing you're doing here is hunting for women, you're going to end up lonely and broke. I'd tell him that Thailand is an amazing place. It's genuinely amazing. The food, the culture, the people, the landscapes, it's all incredible. And there are real opportunities for meaningful relationships here. But you have to approach it with your eyes open. You have to be willing to go slow. You have to be okay with the fact that the love you find here might not be the intoxicating, addictive kind that you think you want. It might be the quiet kind, the sustainable kind, the kind that's actually real. I'd tell him that the biggest trap isn't the women, it's yourself. It's your loneliness, your desperation, your willingness to believe what you want to believe. And if you can recognize that, if you can be honest about it, you're already halfway to being safe. Here's what Thailand has actually given me now that I'm past the fantasy. It's given me a different life. I have friends here, real friends, not people I'm paying. I have a community. I have routines and interests and a sense of purpose. I have time to think about who I actually am when I'm not trying to be the hero or the romantic lead. And yes, I have a relationship now, but it's not the one I came here looking for. It's better, actually, because it's real, because it's based on something other than fantasy and desperation, because it's sustainable, because I'm not running a constant emotional calculation about whether she loves me or she's just taking my money. Thailand's still beautiful. The pad thai still costs 60 baht at the street cart. The sunrise in the mountains is still incredible. The temples are still spiritually stunning. The food is still the best I've eaten anywhere in the world. But I'm not here looking for a fantasy anymore. I'm here living a real life. And that's what I wish I'd understood when I arrived. Not that I shouldn't have come. Not that Thailand is dangerous or predatory. But that the fantasy I was chasing, the young, beautiful woman who'd finally make me feel wanted, who'd finally make me feel young again, that fantasy was always going to destroy me if I let it. The real thing, a genuine life in a place I love, with real people I care about, doing things that matter, that's what's actually worth finding. If you're thinking about coming to Thailand, or if you're already here, don't make the same mistakes I made. Don't go looking for love in the bars and the apps. Go looking for a life. Go looking for a place where you can be yourself. Go looking for real connections with real people who aren't calculating what they can get from you. And if you do that, if you're genuinely honest with yourself about what you're looking for and what you're vulnerable to, Thailand will give you something real. Not the fantasy, not the dream. Something better, something that lasts.